This video will look at how to create an informative speech. So first I want to talk about informing versus persuading. So you want to take these things into consideration when creating your informative speech. Informative speeches are imparting knowledge on your audience, so giving them information. Persuasive speaking is when you're trying to change an audience's beliefs, attitudes, values, and behaviors. So you don't want to try to convince your audience of anything with an informative speech. You just want to give them the facts. So the role of an informative speaker is to be more like a reporter or a teacher. So here are some formats for informative speeches or topics that you can focus on. So anything from an object, so a speech about a specific thing. It could be a product. It could be about a person or a group of people. You could talk about an event that had happened in the past, so something historical, or you could talk about a future event. You could talk about processes. So this is much like a how-to speech. Tell us or teach us how to do something. You can talk about concepts. So this is more from a philosophical or intellectual side. And you could talk about issues. So a current situation, problem, but you don't want to try to persuade the audience to make any change. You just want to inform them about the issue that's at hand. So one of the ways that you can give your informative speech is through description. So you can give your audience a mental sense of an event, a process, or an object. So a really good example that I'm going to give you is the following. The skies went on forever. We live in Arizona. The skies always had little fluffy clouds in them. They were long and clear, and there were lots of stars at night. They were beautiful, the most beautiful skies. The sunsets were purple and red and yellow and on fire. The clouds would catch the colors everywhere. So you could see it's very descriptive, lots of adjectives. It helps the audience to try to understand what's going on, to picture it without actually being there. Another format you can use is the definition. So the purpose of the definition is to explain or describe the meaning of a term or a concept. You can use it to define terms or concepts that the audience is unlikely to know. You should especially do this for anything that is very scientific or is meant for a certain industry that not everyone is familiar with. Another process is the explanation process. So you position yourself as the educator. You're explaining to us why something is the way that it is or how to do something. You're teaching us. So remember, this is just informing your audience. You can demonstrate to the audience how to do something. So this is a lot like the how-to speech that you've already completed. You can show your audience how to physically go about doing something, how to physically do a process. Another format for the informative speech is narration. So you tell a story or a verbal account of an event or a series of events. So it doesn't matter if you were there or not, if you've conducted research on it, you can take your research and form a story to tell your audience. Some things that you want to consider when you're creating an informative speech. So you want to keep it as simple as possible. So you want to avoid using overly technical language and jargon that your audience doesn't understand. If you use some technical language, you want to define it and explain it to your audience. You want to reduce the quantity of information. So you want to make sure that you don't pick a topic that's very vast. You want to pick something that is more just a small portion of a topic rather than try to teach us, say, everything that there is to know about astronomy. Maybe you want to focus on just moon exploration. And I'm not saying that you have to do a scientific speech like that, but that's a really good example to show reduce the quantity, the quality is more important, and plus your audience isn't able to take in as much information at once on a topic. Assess the audience's knowledge of the subject. So go back to our audience analysis of the class. What is the class interested in? If there was a lot of members of the class interested in a certain hobby, take that into consideration when you're giving your speech, because they already might have knowledge on it. Use visual aids, so use text, images, video, sound, graphs, flowcharts, whatever is going to work to show us the topic better. Use that in your speech. Keep things concrete. Teach. Don't try to beat the information into us. And then rinse and repeat. Do it again. Some other tips for informing your audience. Make your speech unique. So pick a topic that's interesting, but make sure that you pick a topic that's interesting to you. If you're not interested in the topic, the audience is able to tell. So pick something that you're going to want to conduct research on and then want to tell us about it. So make your speech personally relevant. If you could pick a topic that you are familiar with or a topic that you have some type of connection to, you could talk about that in your speech so that even if it's just an interest of yours. For example, I'm really interested in history. So if I gave a speech on a historical topic, I might say something along the lines of that this is a hobby of mine. I've always been interested in history, and that's why today I'm going to teach you about, World War II. So make sure that your speech is relevant to you and that it's a topic that you find interesting.